Well, Pezza, good morning to you. This World Cup is shaping up just nicely. Now, South Africa, is it 1 foot in? Is it 2 foot in? Who are they going to play in the semis? We all know how this goes, but this episode, as they all are brought to you by our dear, close, personal friends.
Now delivering in 10 minutes.
Thanks so much to Big Basket Now. Pezza, I've woken up this morning and I've seen South Africa have beaten England in a close game by 7 runs. A good game of cricket. We're going to get to that. But I'm thinking, this feels just about right. It's all shaping up just nicely for a semi-final knockout for the Saffers, you know?
And that's why I'm here to say, South Africa, your time's come. You know, finally, South Africa, your time has come. Don't you think, here goes though, mathematically, if one team hoards all the trophies, by extension, every other team develops that figurative monkey on the back. The monkey must remove off somebody's back this World Cup.
Yep.
So someone must lose the monkey off the back. And why not South Africa? Okay, overs 15 to 17 suggests they've got some work to do in the second innings here. But they're undefeated. They're undefeated. Is it undefeated in a manner where you go, lids off? Because it's a very strange World Cup, he goes. You know, on the one hand, you have England, who've nearly lost to Scotland, 45 minutes from a washout against Namibia, been kicked out of the World Cup. They lose to Australia and they lose to South Africa. They're about as good a shakes as South Africa, who's undefeated. Tournament play, knockouts.
South Africa batted first, made 163 for 6. England gave it a really good shake, 156 for 6 in their innings, 7 runs short. It was a great game of cricket. Let's get into the first of the 3 things today. Quinton de Kock again, Pezza. A little bit of a slow start into the tournament, but now back-to-back 50, 65 off 38, leading run scorer in the game either side. He was sensational. England opened the bowling today with Topley and Moeen, who, as Firdaus Mundar informs me in her match report for ESPN Cricket Info, had dismissed Quinton de Kock 12 out of 19 times, which to me says that these guys play way too much cricket.
Yeah.
Way too much. Like, how's Topley and Moeen got Quinton de Kock out 12 out of 19 times? It's too much. There's too much, man. South Africa scored 63 in the power play and then 100 off their next 14 overs. Quinton de Kock, though, it was a 22-ball 50, equal fastest 50 of the World Cup so far. Equal, of course, Aaron Jones. When he was scoring runs, finishes 65 of 38. Jofra, his first over went for 21, and Quinton de Kock hit him for 17 off those. But it was impressive from Quinton de Kock, and he accelerated. Then his next 15 sort of stewarded the next phase to get them to 160. But it was good. It was good from Quinton, wasn't it?
End of the game, Butler says the South Africa's power play was the difference. You know, Quinny taking it on and doing the business. Yeah, he uses class, de Kock. He makes great shapes. As we learnt a couple of years ago, fishing's very key to him. Great fishing off the coast of St. Lucia. So everything's coming up QDK at the moment. 50 from 22. Was it he who scooped that one down backward square where Woody nonchalantly just claimed the catch that hit the ground? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm saying shout out Woody. I'm claiming that too as well. I thought he did very well, and I decry video in this situation. But
there are no cameras in 5th grade, Pezza.
Yeah, exactly. And given they started at 10:30, there was a 5th grade element to this game today. But that's not a comment on the quality of both teams. And another really close game. Yeah, Quinny really the difference, and nullified Jofra Archer as well. Love the point you make about, you know, England got their data right. The postgraduates did their work, and Moeen and Reece Topley were the best matchup to Quinton de Kock, who just took them down. It's almost just like there's just good cricketers, and sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, you know? But yeah, well done, QDK.
Yeah, and also the postgraduates have got fees to pay, you know, and hey, don't we all? So, you know,
true.
Everyone's working hard. Everyone's working hard for a crust.
Knocking at the door.
Get a lot of anagrams at the door, just having a knock at the door, AFP, ATO, whatever you like.
Just federal agencies generally.
Butler took a great catch to get rid of Quinton de Kock. That was actually off Joffa Archer. But his magnum opus was running out Klaassen for the non-strikers end. So Mark Wood bowls a leg side wide, slow ball bouncer down the leg side, bounces in front of Josh Butler, who has 2 feet together, knees it to sort of short third man. David Miller calls Klaassen through for a run from the non-strikers end. Klaassen caught looking at the roof of his helmet.
Yes.
As he often likes to do, and then Butler just basically turns and blindly pings the ball in the direction of the stumps, throws the stumps down. That was absolutely magnificent from Josh Butler. Let's say,
would you say would you say he bantered Klaassen off there because it was a run out as a result of a fumble? But would you say a deliberate fumble? You know, he's bantered him off.
I think he's been bantered off there, yeah. I think he's been bantered off. David Miller finishing innings nicely as well, should be said, 43 off 28 to get South Africa to 163-46. But let's get into the second thing, and that is that Harry Brook gets them close. Brook and Livingston, really, because England are 61 for 4 after 10.2 overs when Moeen was dismissed. Before then, there's a couple of great catches. One from Reza Hendricks to get rid of Phil Salt. That was the first wicket off Rabada. Sort of catching cover, diving, leaping like an impala to his left. Both hands to it. It was a goalkeeper.
It's like a goalkeeper's save.
Goalie stuff.
Free kick, 2 hands. Salty looking good at that point as well. The cream's top there. Anyway,
shout out to the Euros. And then Nortje a backward point to get rid of Bairstow. That was off Maharaj. Cut shot off the old Kippax there, Yorkshire's finest. And a diving 2-handed catch from Nortje. So, South Africa's catching was excellent. Excellent. It wasn't the catch of the match so far, but they were very, very good. So at that point when Moeen's out, right, England need to go at 10s in the last 9 and a bit overs. 6 wickets in hand, obviously with a game where they needed 8 at the start of the inning. So it seemed like England were well behind the game at this point. South Africa playing nicely, catching well. But there is a suggestion that that South Africa misread the deck. They only brought 1 spinner in. That was Maharaj. He was bowled out early in the inning, so then it was left to the seamers. But to the point of Brook and Livingston, they get them all the way where Nasser Hussain on commentary actually says England now in front. Yep. You mentioned before between overs 15 and 17, those 3 overs there, these 2 added 52 runs. There was some pump bowling from Bartman especially, which was troubling. Just couldn't get his Yorker right. But 25 needed off 18 thanks to Brook and Livingston, their clutch hitting, 6 wickets in hand. England, they've done it. And they should be walking to it. Then the first ball of the 18th over, 25 of 18, 6 wickets in hand. Rabada's bowling the first ball of that over. It's a hip high full toss, and you're thinking, oh, Livingston, he's gonna wipe this for 6. Doesn't quite get it. Flicks him to backward square. Tristan Stubbs does the rest. Takes the catch. Oh, they got him so close. They got him so close, England. It was a good performance.
Well, I mean, even then, like Staines commentating, and he goes, I can't remember his words, but he essentially says, I think it's too little, too late. England's there already. So there is still work to do from there. But to me, the question is, was it just a confluence of excellent hitting from Brook and Livingston? I mean, I do love watching Harry Brook bat. He hits the ball so hard with the fastest hands. I feel like we haven't really even seen him this tournament yet. Did South Africa sort of come through this game like when they were under pressure, or did they relent to the pressure and create a problem in this game? You know, did we see South African wobbles at that point? Did they allow England back in with poor bowling, or was it just good batting, or a little bit of both, or maybe that's just all cricket is?
Here's what I think about South Africa, Pezza. Now they've won games this World Cup, which they've definitely lost in every World Cup since their inception.
Shout.
Like they lose that game against Nepal. You know, they probably just about find a way to lose the game against the USA in the Super 8s. They definitely find a way to lose this game in previous World Cups. Don't know how well they're playing, but they're undefeated. Now, to your point, that doesn't matter because get yourself to a semi-final, get your cock out, see what happens from there. But I would say, if I was speaking, which as you know, I'm not.
I'm not speaking.
South Africa are winning games that they've never won before in World Cups. And it should be said as well, if it means anything, and it doesn't because we know that, they were excellent in the 50 over World Cup. They were really, really good. Played Australian semi-final, we know what happens. But this South African outfit is really, really good. And they're finding ways to win games they've lost before. So if we can do What Now, Get Now, brought to you by friends at Big Basket Now. Everything you've ever needed in 10 minutes or less. Now, what South Africa needed here was some clutch bowling. They needed someone to clutch up. So 25 off 18 came down to 20 off 12. Marco Jansen bowled a terrific penultimate over, getting into the deck, off speed sort of gear. Only went for 7. So he gave Nortje 13 to defend off the last over. He goes, here you go, Nortje, do your thing. Now, the much maligned Unrick Nortje, of course, after the IPL, where he just couldn't land his Yorker for Delhi. There were several games. There must have been 3 games I can think of where Nortje was bowling the death over. He just couldn't get out of the over, couldn't finish it, couldn't land it. Tough IPL for bowlers. We all know that. But this was a really, really impressive over from Nortje, who's done it before in this World Cup as well. Harry Brook on strike, 13 to win. First ball, scooped down the ground, over mid-off, who's in the ring. It's Markram, turns, runs, takes a brilliant over-the-shoulder catch to dismiss Brook. That felt like such a huge moment. It's not the end of the game, but it basically won them the game with that catch. And you know what? South Africa deserved to win the game. Their catching was outstanding. The power play from de Kock was excellent. They finished this innings better than England did. But shout out to Nortje, who had the fucking balls to clutch up after he was fucking pumped in the IPL.
Mate, great shout. And how often do you see in the last over of a T20 game that first ball be so important? You know, like where the batter tries to hit a 6 to set the tone and make the chase much easier. And if the bowler can get a wicket, the batters are up against it. And it just happened here. And South Africa won that moment, probably unexpectedly, really, because Harry Brook was on a tear. He just doesn't get there's just a ball that he doesn't get. Maybe he'd been dieting, he'd been feasting on a diet of full tosses. One actually hit the deck and he was struggling after that. But great catch from great catch from Markram, captain's catch, over the shoulder, a cricketer's catch. And perhaps that speaks to what you were mentioning earlier. Perhaps South Africa are coming through with the goods when it really matters. And maybe that, will just get them to a semi-final, depending on, if they play Australia or not. But no, that's arrogant, and Australia deserves to lose off the back of that comment alone. It's great. It's great to see. It's great to see from Nortje. You're right. He has struggled with the death overs for the last couple of months, and he comes through with one at the right time. And at the end of the day, when it comes to if legacy matters or opinion matters, you can have a very bad couple of months of cricket in domestic franchise cricket or even international cricket. But if you come up with the goods when it matters for your nation, with trophies on the line, that's all that matters to people. And Nortje is starting to look pretty menacing.
The last thing I want to talk about is there's the game that we'll be covering later today, which is the West Indies against the USA. Now, looking at the table, that's actually a pretty good result for England. Obviously they would have wanted to win the game, et cetera, but their net run rate has not really taken much of a hit. So the only way I can see the West Indies now getting in, so South Africa are on 4 points, England 2 points, USA, West Indies 0 points. South Africa's net run rate is 6.2. England's is 0.41. Sorry. South Africa's is 0.62. England's is 0.41. And let's just take as read that USA are not going to make it. But the West Indies are minus 1.3. Now, the West Indies play the USA today, and then they'll play against South Africa. They obviously need to win both those games. But the way that I can see the West Indies leapfrogging England, because I don't think they can catch South Africa, is they need to absolutely smash the West Indies, because England's last game against the West Indies, and England will also be trying to get into the next stage through net run rate, as they did into the Super 8s, which is kind of a funny thing generally, because they're as good a chance as anyone to win this World Cup, despite getting through on net run rate twice, you would suggest. But so this game this afternoon, or this evening West Indies time, actually becomes really important for the West Indies if they can make it. And I don't see if a close-ish win is going to be good enough, unless, of course, they absolutely blitz South Africa. I'm just saying, huge game this afternoon or this evening.
Yeah.
West Indies, USA. They have to do it. They have to blitz them.
I think for England, who will be expected to beat the USA, is the only thing. If you're going to lose narrowly. Really, narrowly matters.
Narrowly matters.
England's only going to be in trouble if they don't beat the USA by enough, and West Indies beats South Africa, really handily. So West Indies need 2 really big wins. I think, interestingly, when it comes to those final games, not to look ahead too far, but England plays the USA first. So the West Indies will know what it needs to do against South Africa if it is to qualify. And England might put it beyond their reach if they absolutely annihilate the USA, irrespective of the game today. So, it just goes to show how important early wins are in these types of scenarios. I know mathematically everything's got the same value, but if you can get good early wins, that places extra permutations on those who don't start well, where they need to actually confect, incredible results where the other teams already know that and can structure accordingly. So that win from England over the Windies, and the size of that win is going to be really hard for the Windies to overturn. They're basically going to have to play 2 perfect games of cricket to make it through. Which they can do. That can happen in World Cups. I've actually got the USA making it personally, but that's a separate podcast that I do called Conspiracies with Andrew Tate.
I'm doing one with Jordan Peterson later. How are you, JP? JP Doomany, that is.
Justice of the Peace. Which is the nickname of another player in threes. He used to preside over fines. You used to have to actually do a catwalk before getting into the tubs in front of the JP, the Justice of the Peace.
Hashtag AskCDC from @ALH00020. Hashtag AskCDC. The chat about Super 8 tournament the other day made me think, what do you think is the shortest and longest format of a game that you would actually watch? 5 overs aside, 20 ball hit out, 10-day test match?
Mate.
I feel like you can have too much of a good thing of anything. And I include sugar because I'm a real sweet tooth.
Yeah.
A real sweet tooth. But, too much, diabetes, foot comes off. So,
Indeed,
my point being.
Swings and roundabouts. Yeah. Tastes good, no foot. Yeah. The key word in that is actually watched. I mean, do I actually watch anything?
Yeah.
The last time I actually watched something was on a plane when the internet was turned off. I mean, I don't know if I actually watch this cricket. I don't know if I actually watch any cricket or anything. I don't know if I'm anywhere. The internet has robbed my attention and my brain. The composition of my brain has changed. I haven't watched anything in years. Barely got my head up from my phone when my second child was born.
The only thing I've ever actually watched is the guy in the team with a mythically large penis, and I'm looking at him going to the showers, but I'm actually pretending like I'm not watching that.
And that's the great.
Is that interesting?
It's a great contradiction, isn't it? Yeah. The last thing I watched was our third grade guy called Justice of the Peace. We all had to parade with our penis in front of him, and he was the justice of that peace. So perhaps that's what we'll watch.
Yeah, I thought it was too much when he brought in a gavel. That became a bit too much. It became like an auction, but that was just the culture of the club at the time.
Yeah, it's a measuring stick. No, it's a gavel. You got to hit it again. Yeah. Order in the court. Old Slugs walked in.
Well, it's been a hell of a World Cup so far. South Africa, how many feet are in the semi-finals? Is it 1 foot? Is it 2 foot? Is it lids off in South Africa? Ooh, it's getting a little bit tasty. We'll see you guys in a few hours' time after the USA and West Indies match. See you then. Cheers.